competence, and integrity within it. So help me God.
Now, my colleague Elizabeth Mutuku had a sit down with the senior counsel and former GSC Commissioner Tom Ojienda over this matter and began by asking him what he thinks of Chief Justice Martha Koome's statement on this particular issue.
Thank you so much, Prof, for giving me this opportunity, maybe to clear some 2-3 things according to pertaining what happened yesterday with the appointments of judges and swearing in. But then there was a statement by Chief Justice Martha Koome, which came later on. What do you think of the statement? Because I know you saw it, and maybe you've read it.
I've read the statement by the Chief Justice. Clearly, what happened yesterday is unfortunate. His Excellency the President swore in the 34 judges, but did not give a chance to the Chief Justice to speak at the function. I think that is what necessitated the Chief Justice to make a statement after the swearing in. And I think key in the statement is that she set out what she wants with the judiciary, thanking the President for appointing the 34 judges, but also asking him to ensure that the 6 judges who remain are appointed. She also then spoke to the Judicial Service Act and the independence of the judiciary and asked the President to respect the judiciary. I think these are key things that must not be forgotten. That the Chief Justice was acting, perhaps in my view, in anger or in desperation after she was ignored at the function because she did not have a chance to address these questions.
From what I saw in the statement, she was speaking from we and not I. Then that leaves me wondering, why was it so hard for her to address the person who was swearing in the judges?
I think you must understand, it's not easy being a Chief Justice. Chief Justice Martha Koome has been in office for a few days, and I think she's settling in. And we must forgive the fact that she has to walk that delicate balance to ensure that she appeases the executive, but also she ensures that the independence of the judiciary is sustained, is maintained, because she needs to have institutional independence of the judiciary as an institution, and also ensure that judges have decisional independence. So these are key things that we must look to. I will say this, that I think having had no opportunity to speak at the function, because at the function she would have spoken to His Excellency the President and told him that the JS Act, for instance, does not allow you to do what you're doing, and that you are violating the Constitution.
From the period you've known now.
Perhaps should have told him that, this is what the Constitution says. Yes, you have your concerns, but the Constitution says that you appoint individuals first. It is the role of the Judicial Service Commission to vet judges. It is the role of the Judicial Service Commission to receive applications and go through the process. And it is not open to the executive to purport to want to perform what you are performing by saying that you are acting in the public interest. Perhaps she would have done that and ought to have done that.
I know you've known Chief Justice Martha Koome for a while in this industry, maybe. But then it leaves me wondering, is she able to address the President directly the way you think if she was given the opportunity, is she able to do it?
Chief Justice has been sworn in. Right now she can. Before the appointment, perhaps not. But now she's been sworn in. She has security of tenure. It is not easy to remove a Chief Justice from office. And I think that she should learn that it's a chance to perform as expected from Kenyans. She ought to work for and to maintain in appearance and substantively the independence of the judiciary institution, because it is that independence that will give judges confidence to perform their task as judges.
I think there must have been a meeting before the swearing in of these judges. Maybe, do you think she had an opportunity maybe to speak to President, and maybe later on there comes a statement? Does it look to you like a double speak?
Well, many people would say that, would speak to that question, because before the swearing in, definitely, she had a chance to speak to the President. Definitely. That is not in question. But as I've said again, it is important to note that as a Chief Justice, she will have to come out finally in defense of the judiciary as an institution. It is her duty, it is her job, she must do it.
What do you think of her statement? In the statement, she said that no one has the mandate to direct the judiciary on what to do, how to take its mandate.
You see that is the statement. That is the correct position. But what the president did is exactly the opposite. Because the president did the opposite of what is expected of him. He is not supposed to direct the JSC or the judiciary on who to appoint as judge. But that is what he's trying to do by rejecting 6 nominees, competent judges.
This comes at times when, if my memory serves me, where I remember her saying during the interviews while she was seeking for this job that she's going to have a meeting with President Uhuru Kenyatta, maybe to sort out the matter before the judges are appointed and sworn in. And this keeps me wondering whether she had that opportunity or what.
Before the swearing in, definitely, Chief Justice must have met the president, because you cannot swearing. You remember, these judges were appointed in 2018. They've waited, 2019. They've waited for 2 years to get to this point. It's been a long wait for them, and I feel for them as well, because you remember you appointed as judge you appointed 2 years on. You're not sworn in. It's very unfortunate, and I think the judges, they must have been at pain. Imagine those in private practice. You sit out as an advocate. You close your office. I know some of the judges sold their offices 2 years ago and had to seek employment. I know a good friend of mine from Mwingi who closed his office, and then he had to seek employment after waiting for a year.
And still you are not appointed.
And you don't know whether you are an advocate or a judge. That's the pain of this process.
We saw the Chief Justice say that the 6 judges remaining should be appointed. Do you see this happening?
Let me tell you, Mutinda, it must happen. The appointment shall be done, whether in this regime or in the next regime. The JSC cannot undertake any other appointment function until they conclude this one. You cannot fill the 6 positions or the 4 positions of the Court of Appeal or the 2 positions in the Labor Court until you appoint these ones, because that vacuum has been filled, because those officers are nominated for appointment.
If definitely the Chief Justice had an opportunity to sit with the President before the appointment, do you think she had an opportunity to negotiate for these 6 judges?
I think she did. Perhaps the President was adamant, but she did. And I'm sure that, because I remember in her statement she said that in 2014 we had a set of 25 judges and only 11 were appointed, and the 14 were appointed later. That time I used to serve as a member of the Judicial Service Commission, so I knew what went on. We had an opportunity to meet the President, His Excellency the President, at State House with Chief Justice Mutunga then, and we talked to His Excellency the President, and he agreed to appoint the 14. So I believe it's a matter of time. If Chief Justice Martha Koome takes her time and tells the President that what he's asking of the JSC is not possible, then they will be able to sit and appoint the 6 judges.
These 6 judges, let's go to them. I understand some of them are the judges who made the ruling pertaining the BBI process. Yes. Could be this part of revisiting from President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Clearly, I'll tell you this because I know, I was in JSC. In the first time when a list was shared between the presidency and the JSC, the name of Judge Odunga, for instance, was not there. Out of the 4 names then that had concerns, Judge Odunga's name was not there. And Judge Korea's name was not there. Those names are new. So they have removed 2 other names that they had concerns with then and introduced 2 other names. And the concerns as you know, are that the security arm has concerns which are unsubstantiated concerns. Because when the JST asked for information or details of the concerns, they did not disclose the concerns. And that's the problem. What could the JSC do? Because it is a requirement that when you advertise and shortlist, the public is given 30 days to comment on the specific names. His Excellency the President has 4 nominees at JSC, 2 appointed directly, the AG and Head of Public Service, and they keep him informed. So he knows clearly that this is an important, that he knows clearly that he's informed of the processes all through. He's never in the dark. So why weren't all these concerns then shared by these nominees with His Excellency the President?
Do you think JSC failed in that?
JSC, I think, did its best. They did their best because even the AG sat in the JSC. It is a failing of those representatives that you can speak to. But JSC undertook its mandate under the Constitution and the law. And that is why they've stood with their decision. And that's the correct decision.
This leaves a dent to the judiciary and more so confidence of the judiciary and the public. And this leaves me wondering, are we going to have a tribunal maybe for these 6 judges, or what is going to happen? What is the way forward?
If you have, I mean, where we are at, if you want to remove the judges, get a tribunal. Bring the evidence. Unfortunately, and I speak as a former member of Judicial Service Commission, I don't think there's any complaint that would meet a threshold for a tribunal to be constituted. So that's likely to run into a hard wall. But as things stand now, it may just lead to the stalemate. There may be a continued stalemate because who is complaining? Would it be the president or his presidency writing a complaint? Will they be ready to come and testify and say, these are the issues touching on the judges, or these are just rumors? What are these issues? These are the key concerns, but it has dented the image of the judges. It has led to unnecessary pains because it has been 2 years since the said complaints were raised. Why wasn't this sorted out? Why haven't we had tribunals formed to sort out these issues? I think those are the main concerns.
The appointment of these 6 judges may be back if this is going to happen. Is it going to restore the confidence? Is it going to clear the image?
I think confidence is an ongoing issue. We wait to see what Chief Justice Martha Koome does in the judiciary. What kind of decisions will emerge from the judiciary, especially if those decisions touch on the government or the executive. That is what will make us judge what kind of judiciary we are going to have going forward.
The role of the president, where does it end? And where do we start? Also the mandate of the judiciary in this whole matter, in a layman's language, which everyone is going to...
In this whole matter, the Judicial Service Act is and the Constitution is very particular. The president's role in the appointment of judges begins at the point of gazettement, after nomination by JSC, and swearing in. 2 roles. And this is because the Constitution is expressed because of what used to happen pre-2010. In pre-2010, the president used to appoint judges of his choice. He essentially controlled the judiciary. He appointed judges, chief justice of his choice without an explanation. He did not need to give any explanation then. But you see now, this has changed. The Constitution is very expressed that this power was removed from the president to an independent commission, which then determines the process and who becomes judge.
As it is, do you think the president has had the mandate to reject or the 6 judges? Maybe because I know Mwananchi is wondering who is working on whose mandate.
No, the president has interfered with the mandate of the JSC and of the judiciary. He has interfered with the independence of the institution. He is clearly overreaching and violating the Constitution. That is not in doubt.
With Martha Koome as the Chief Justice in place, are we likely to see these relations, because we know the relationship between the executive and judiciary has not been so smooth? Are we likely to see any change?
We wait to see the change. In my view, a lot will depend going forward. This is an election year. I mean, we're going to an election year. We'll have party elections. We'll finally have the other forms of elections. We hope that judicial independence will dictate the term of Chief Justice Martha Koome. But I think the best approach would be, as I say, let us wait and see. Let us give her a chance to dictate how the judiciary is run going forward.
The final on this, Martha Koome, Chief Justice, said that she was not part of the process. And later on, we saw the statement. What do you think of this? What do you react to this?
She was not part of the process. That is true. The interviews were done during Maraga's time. But let me tell you, the judiciary as an institution is a continuing process. You cannot run away from the processes. She must own that process because it was an independent process. It's a process declared by the Constitution. It's not a personal process. And so she's wrong when she says that she was not there. She has picked the mantle, she must run with it. She must speak for and maintain the independence of the judiciary as an institution.
Don't you think majority of Kenyans will feel like this is a betrayal and maybe hypocrisy?
I think it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. I would only say that. It leaves a bad taste in the mouth when you start blame games. Because when you take an institution, you take it with everything. With the benefits, with the burdens. You run with it.
What would you advise Mother Koome on the whole matter?
To stand. Chief Justice Mother Koome must stand up and be counted. She must stand up for the judiciary. She must stand up and preserve the independence of this institution.
The independence of judiciary, is it threatened as it is today?
Clearly there are doubts. Right? With the way the president talks, yes it is. The judiciary is under threat. That is not in doubt.
Thank you so much, Professor, for giving me this opportunity. Back to you to stay in the studio. Musa Sala, I'm Elizabeth Mutiku.
Well done, Elizabeth Mutu.